Hey everyone, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that notification bell, like, dislike, comment. Let us know what you're thinking. You could also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, today on the Angel of Words podcast, we have the Thank You Medley. Yes, we will be recapping all the episodes since we started in January of 2020. And wow, has it been a hectic year filled with unforeseen circumstances and, quite frankly, things that probably have been hidden in the dark for centuries. Now, that being said, I started this podcast because I grew up in New York City. I grew up experiencing a lot of things and experiencing a lot of people from all different walks of life. And it has been a blessing for me. I have learned who to stay away from and who to gravitate to. I have just learned how to gain insight into people because of all the experiences I've had in New York City. And that being said, that is why I do not see things in black and white. I just can't. It wouldn't be real to the anecdotes of my life. It just wouldn't be. And that is why I love this podcast and why I invite anyone who wants to speak their truth and has something or a platform that they need to express themselves. No matter where you come from, no matter what your political ideology is, you are welcome to come here and talk to me on the Angel of Words podcast, because I know not everybody sees the world in black and white. Not everybody sees the world the same, and the world is a big place. Why would you think otherwise? Now, that being said, my point is that I just hope that with whatever is going on now, we continue to respect one another. Whether you're a liberal, whether you're a right winger, it doesn't matter. We must respect each other. We need to start having dialogue that helps us progress. Some way that we could meet in the middle to help our citizens of the United States progress. Because if we don't, we're gonna have a country that walks around on eggshells. And that is the last thing I want for any of us, because I know what it's like to have to walk around on eggshells. And that is a horrible way to live. Now, that being said, there's a global pandemic happening all over the world. And so my people all over the world, please stay safe, stay healthy. And I want to give a shout out to some special countries that have been listening in to the Angel of Words podcast, such as Finland, Poland, Germany, Italy, Spain, Ireland, and Argentina. I want to keep spreading the Angel of Words all across the world. And thank you for being the worldwide pioneers of listening to the Angel of Words podcast. I really appreciate it. And don't think that I don't know that you're listening. And thank you so much. Now, to all my guests, thank you so much for coming on this program and speaking your truth. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate it. All you guys come from different walks of life, have different ideologies, have been through different things. And I just appreciate you taking a risk on me and coming out here and speaking your truth and letting me know what it is and, what you see and how your struggle has helped you become a better person. It really motivates me talking to you guys and listening to your stories. Now, to my team, I love you guys. I can't do it without you. I'll be completely honest with you. Sometimes I know that I may get a little bit annoying, but without you guys, I would have never been able to get this far on the podcast. And don't worry, with a team like you, we're going to continue moving forward, and we're going to continue bringing people great stories, great truths, great facts, and unbiased situations for people to listen to that, that will make them feel either good about themselves, good about the future, or good about what's surrounding them. Now, on deck, on the Angel of Words podcast, we have the Thank You Medley. Episode 1, Francis Medina, New York City Department of Vital Statistics Insider. Okay. Now, Fran, there's 2 different types of birth certificates. Am I correct?
Yes.
You have the long form birth certificate and the short form birth certificate. Yes. Could you please, for the love of God, explain to us what is the difference between the 2?
Well, the long form certificate is what we call a copy of your original, a certified copy of your original certificate of when you was born, which has the hospital, the time. Normally, it will have your parents' background, where they're from, or if you're old, an older person, it'll have your origin or background. Like back in the days, it had Negro, Hispanic, this and that. Nowadays, they don't do that. They just put if your parents are from another country, they'll put where your parents are from. Some people have their parents' birth dates. Some people have their parents' age of when they gave, birth to you. And so it has way more information. It has a copy of your original. It's a certified copy of that original certificate that you was born with.
Episode 2, James the Beast Wilson, heavyweight boxer. Now, you told me a very funny story, and I want to mention a man that you said was like a father figure to you, Andy Moran.
Yeah.
And could you elaborate on how the Beast came to be, if you will?
That's fun. Yeah, Andy Moran. So Andy Moran is my high school head football coach. I would say this is probably one of the first male figures, that I kind of gave trust to. Growing up, man, I was angry. I didn't trust nobody. And he just kind of like took me under his wing. Like, I see what you're going through. I know where you came from, but you have an opportunity to be great. There's a certain skill and a certain mindset that you possess, man. That's going to allow you to get out of the situation that you in. You know what I mean? And one of the things he used to always tell me, damn, James, you run the ball like you angry. Because I was angry.
Yeah.
But he was able to help me take that and transfer that to the field, and because of that, man, I ended up getting a full ride to the ball.
Well, tell us about the fumbling. You forgot that part.
Oh yeah,
the game that you fumbled all the time. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember you spoke to me about that. Hey. I love that, man. That's one of my favorite, pieces when I last spoke to you.
And that was real, like,
yeah.
And that showed that he entrusted me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my first time playing high school football. I'm a running back. You know what I mean? And I fumbled the ball like 6 times in one game. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is, most people, they get your ass on the bench, man. You ain't getting back in this game,
yo. You right in the pine after that, more than likely.
You know what I mean? But what he did, he kept feeding me the rock.
Yeah.
Kept feeding me the rock. And because of that, man, that helped that mindset of, man, you don't fucking quit. Yeah. Shit ain't gonna always go your way. You know what I mean? You ain't always get it right the first time, but you go keep fucking going. And eventually, you know what I'm saying, shit's gonna start clicking. Shit's gonna get better, you know what I mean? But yeah, for sure. That was something that I remember for the rest of my life, man.
Episode 3, Jonathan Croyder, coma survivor. While in Thailand, you were, working, you were moonlighting as a DJ, but then something happened to you.
Yes.
That changed the course of your life.
Yes, Angel, yes.
Could you discuss what happened to you on that fateful night in Thailand?
Well, I was, I have lived there more than 4 years. I had a great time. One night, I was out with my friends. We had dinner. They played music. We danced. We went to different places. It was a great time. And then it was the end of the evening, so it was time to go home. So I said, okay, good night, everyone. See you again very soon. And we all went home. And I was going to cross the street, to start walking home. But there were many cars coming, so I stopped. And then when the cars stopped and I was able to cross the street, I started crossing the street. But what happened was there was not a car, not a truck, a tuk-tuk. That's a thing that they're using in Asia that didn't see me and I didn't see them. And it hit me. And it hit me very, very, very hard. I was 1% away from dying from that exact second.
Episode 4, Migos, Grammy winners, hip hop.
Now, when you guys go in the studio, y'all write y'all stuff or y'all spit off the dome?
Off the dome.
Wow, okay, so nothing is written when y'all in the studio. It's just straight off the top. That's crazy.
Nothing special. We're going straight in, you know what I'm saying? We got a 15-minute rule. You got to come up with a song and get your ass out the booth.
Episode 5, Edgar Santana, photographer. Now, you also have an interesting perspective that I noticed, doing my research on you. You call the Bronx the forgotten borough.
It is.
Please elaborate on that. Why do you feel like everybody forgets about the Bronx? Because I'll be completely honest with you, I feel like the Bronx gets a bad rap.
I mean, it does. It does. And it'll continue to, because people think of people that don't live in the borough.
Yeah.
They hear the Bronx, they're like, oh, that's the hood. But let me tell you, there's good and bad of everywhere. We were just talking about gentrification, a few minutes ago, and the Bronx is slowly but surely being gentrified. People are being priced out of Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan. They don't know where to go. So where are they going? They're going to
Mott Haven is where they're going.
They're going to Mott Haven. So like 3 years ago, Mott Haven apartments were like $800.
Now they're luxury lofts.
Now they're luxury lofts. So that tells you right there that it's slowly being gentrified, and a lot of parts of the Bronx are still untouched. But remember, that when gentrification comes along, the culture goes along with it. And people that have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50 years, 60 years, where are they going to go?
Episode 6, Mark Byrd, author. And one of your characters in the book, who is, obviously is going to be probably everybody's favorite, is Carol. Strong African-American woman, goes through a lot in the book. Yeah. What was your inspiration behind that character, man?
So, we watched. I did a lot of research. And it's crazy that you brought that up. It came up into play because I was thinking, how could I grab, like you said, like from the 19th century to the 21st century, how can I make this happen? And me going into Carol's life, I try to write people that I knew, you know what I mean? And people that I know that went through a lot. And even down to some of my own experiences, because I can never say that I'm a woman. I can never say that I'm going to carry a child. I don't know what it's like. I don't. But I do know some of the things that have been explained to me, and some of the things that I've seen, and some of the things I've heard through stories and more. And I was just like, dang, I have to make sure that people are extremely moved by her story. So that's how it really started really manifesting itself.
Episode 7, Ninfa Molina, singer, La Voz Season 2. You were working with Alejandra Guzman during that time. What was that experience like? Because that woman has sold over 30 million records in her lifetime. She's an animal.
The fact that she turned her chair, you guys didn't see that on the audition, but she turned and I just went like this to her, and people don't see that on TV because it was just an amazing, I was like, she's turning, and it was like an immediate click. With her, because she turned, nobody else turned, but she turned. Yeah. And she trusted in my talent. And, after the audition was over, we went back, on backstage, and then we were talking, and she was like, there's something in your voice that tells me I needed to turn. So working with her is just amazing, and not just her, but everybody within the production, full on with every single artist that's part of the show. I've been to different shows before, and I have never had the training or coaching that I had in this show.
Wow, so you were on other reality
I was
TV
in other,
shows.
yeah.
Oh, such as, where can we find
I did
you?
Latin American Idol.
Oh, Latin American Idol.
Back in 2006. And
Wow.
I actually auditioned in Colombia. And then from Colombia, I was picked. We made it to the top 300 there. And then we went to Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Nice.
And then there, they picked about 30 people. Yeah, top 30.
And you
So
made
I
the top
it to
30?
top 30.
Wow. Episode 8, Serge Ibaka, 2019 NBA champion, Toronto Raptors.
Were you treated like a hero, Serge? Were you treated like a hero out there? Were you excited about that?
Yeah, I was excited. Yeah, I was very excited because to me that was the dream. To me, dream come true. I wanted to, I always wanted to, to inspire a lot of kids, back home. Because since I was the first and only one, the first one who made, here in the NBA, and I wanted to inspire them, to let them know, it's no matter where you come from, or who you are, or what family you come from, you can still reach your goal, or you can still make your dreams come true, and with hard work and be patient and discipline, and anything possible. So that's why I took the trophy back home. It was a great moment.
Episode 9, Caris LeBlanc, POI expert. Now, is there any truth to the rumor? Because I've heard this kind of nonsense a lot. I don't want to know if you've actually experienced it. There's orgies going on at Burning Man as well. What's up with that? I heard there's a freak show too over there. Like, I understand people are naked, but are they like embarking upon different experiences you don't see like very often? Yeah. Love it. It's like the gay parade here in New York,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, again, like when it comes to like all of the principles of Burning Man, there is no like really structure to any of it. So yes, there are, there's theme camps for everything and almost anything that you can possibly imagine. You could go to a camp and learn how to bake cookies. You could go to a Russian banyan. You could go to, there's the Orgy Dome. You could go to like a gay themed camp or a, I don't even know, like a hard rock camp. We saw a bluegrass camp one night. There's definitely that. I think that comes with radical self-expression and like committing to an experience. Some people, that's part of what they do with Burning Man, and maybe they take it into the real world. Perhaps they don't. Perhaps that's their 1 week to completely release themselves, like free themselves sexually and express themselves that way to whatever that ends up. Yeah.
Episode 10, Coronavirus, Coronafied. This is not a joke. I've even heard people say nothing's going to stop me from partying. This weekend alone, there was a party in my building of like 25 people. And my father told me as well, in his building, like 25, 30 person parties, people turning up like it's 1999. Bro, what are you doing, baby? What are you doing? Come on, man. Let's do what we gotta do. Let's keep our asses home as much as we possibly can and go outside when we need some. Please. You guys don't want to stay locked up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. That's not what we want to do. We want to get outside. We want to continue our normal lives. We want to get this economy up and popping. You know what I'm saying? Things ain't cool right now, man. We got to do our parts to help and make sure that we can get through this as quick as possible. It's in everyone's best interest. Episode 11, Mario Munoz, Latin Grammy nominated musician.
Everybody want to get the bag.
Yeah. Everybody wants to secure that bag.
Everybody.
Yeah, but you got to find a way to do it.
What you going to do for it?
Yeah.
Are you going to have sleepless nights? Are you going to be like, nah, I got 2-3 days? Or you going to be the one that's sleeping and just like, oh, how I'm going to get the next dollar? You got to pick and choose. I go days without sleeping.
and studios.
People don't understand
They
that,
don't
bro.
understand they just see cute stuff on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We on stage with the artists, the money, the flashy stuff. Nah, bro. They don't see the getting up early to the airport, the hours we spend to make good music for people.
Yeah.
You know? So you could be chilling over there and sweating your life out and whatever it is. But nigga, we doing nights and nights and nights.
Yeah.
Greatest music is made at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
When people are sleeping, we're the ones cooking up.
Yeah. Episode 12. Nick Wright, host of First Things First on Fox Sports 1.
What do you think is one of the biggest things that Force is facing right now in terms of like social consciousness? One of the biggest issues
in the sports
in
world.
the sports world, yeah.
America's race problem. I like to consider myself a student of history, particularly U.S. history, from Reconstruction through the Civil Rights Act. And if you have any study in American history, you know that, like, while in England it's class is the issue, or in Europe I should say it's probably class. In India it's a caste system. It's a race issue. And any country that supercharged its ability, because we're still a young country, into world superpower through unpaid slave labor, is going to have a race issue. And we've never, in my opinion, honestly and truly dealt with it.
Episode 13. Ray Lopez, founder, NOLA MMA.
If you're stepping into a cage or you're stepping into a ring or you're stepping onto a mat and you don't have a little bit of fear, a little bit of nervousness, you probably shouldn't be fighting. Right? Because you got to respect what you're doing. You got to understand one shot could end you. You know, one bad submission hold, one bad fall, you break your neck, you fucking get head trauma, you a vegetable for the rest of your life. You know, and that's the kind of thing that sometimes people don't take into consideration. I got guys that come off the street and they're like, I want to fight. I want to be in the UFC. And I'm like, all right, well, have you trained before? And they're like, nah. I was like, all right, well, first of all, that's not going to happen probably. Second of all, even when people come to me train, you got to be with me for 6 months because I have to know that the ability to fight isn't it, man. It's your mental state. Your mental state is everything, man. You got to be coachable. You got to be teachable. You got to be humble. You got to have no ego. You got to be able to work with your training partners and not go too hard and hurt everybody. You know what I'm saying? You break your toys all the time, you're not going to have nothing to play with. You know, these guys got fights coming up too, so we're all training with each other. You know, it's not like boxing where you just bring in sparring partners just to knock the fuck out. You know, you're working with each other, trying to help each other get better. So you got to protect each other, man. We got a responsibility to each other. So I've had guys completely trained come in and be like, I have fights. I'll be like, yeah, but you're not fighting for me for 6 months to a year. Cause I got to know how you are, you know? And if you're not a good fit for the family, I'm not gonna have to kick you out. You'll leave because the vibe ain't right, you know? And I haven't had to kick anybody out of the gym, man. I haven't had to deal with that. They just don't come back if it's not for them.
Episode 14. Speedy Claxton, 2003 NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs. Now, Speedy, man, you know, I want to talk about one of your contemporaries, someone, you know, that was a legend in the NBA. Kobe Bryant passed away. And, you know, I just want to know your thoughts on that because I know you have children and he is one of your contemporaries. I know it isn't easy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. You know, Kobe's one of the greats, of course. And, you know, being in the NBA, it takes a lot of your family time away from you because, you know, the season's so long. And so especially Kobe, with his work ethic, he was always working on his game as he should have been. So, you know, once he retired and he was able to make up that time that he was missing with his family, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you seen Kobe post-retirement, he was with his daughter, he was with his family, he was at the UConn game, he was at the Lakers game, always had his daughter by his side. He was coaching her AU team. So you could see that he was really focusing on getting his family back together and being one. for that to happen, it was so sad. I remember my daughter calling me, and even she was crying. You could see how tight the two were. But then, you also see how God works in mysterious ways, because those two was probably the tightest in their family, and they probably couldn't have lived without each other.
Episode 15, Quarantine Revelations, #Bipartisan. But let's talk about Andrew Cuomo versus Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr. Oh my God. Yo, the funniest thing, bro. I love it when people get called out, especially in politics. It makes for excellent TV. For absolutely excellent TV. I enjoy it. Mario Cuomo's been coming out calm, cool, collected. Well, yo, he's the master of PowerPoint's presentations, by the way. Oh my God, I never saw a man make a PowerPoint presentation that interesting in my whole entire life. Like, Andrew Cuomo should do a tutorial on YouTube on PowerPoint presentations, and he'll probably break the whole entire fucking YouTube. Honestly, YouTube will be like, oh my God, this how-to video is exploding. Like, what are we gonna do? Episode 16, Linda Monterroso, clinical research expert. Drug thrown out there, hydrochloroquine. And do you feel like, that information should have been played closer to the chest instead of, like advertising that as like the miracle drug? Like, you feel like the administration made a big mistake doing that?
Well, I'm not going to talk politics, but I am not very fond of.
No, I'm talking like scientifically. Like, is that something that people usually do? Like, you don't go out on a limb on a drug if you don't know.
Well, no, by all, no, by. I mean, that's the first thing that you do when you're doing clinical trials is you have to list. And one important thing also to kind of talk about is not only the way that drug is going to develop within you or how you're going to react to that drug in itself, but you also have to think of like other medications that you're currently taking. So if you take a healthy person and you test, that's the ideal population really when you're trying to test out a drug, right? A healthy person who has no other factors that come into play. You're not taking, a much older population. You're not taking someone that has other, comorbid, ailments or whatever it may be. But when you're testing this drug, you don't know how it's going to actually have an effect on another drug you're currently taking. So if you've ever had a physician prescribe a drug to you, they're going to ask you beforehand, what other medications are you taking? And when you go and see your doctor's office, they're going to ask you to list all the other medications you're taking because they want to make sure that whatever drug they do give you is not going to have a negative side effect on because of it interacting with the current drug that you're taking. And so with regards to, drug, the miracle drug that you're referring to, it has side effects in itself. You're talking about headaches and dizziness and nausea and vomiting, a lot of other things that actually have come about because of COVID. And so I don't think that it, at the very least from a scientific perspective, you should really jump on to say, this is a miracle drug, this is going to be the cure-all. We don't know whether or not it's going to be effective with everyone. We don't know whether or not it's going to be the solution. But I think that that's the problem that we're running into right now with regards to this is no one knows really how it's going to play out. No one knows whether or not this specific drug is going to be the solution to everything. And so you really have to kind of do your research and you have to kind of see whether or not you I've heard so many stories of healthy people, and that's something that you hear in the news, healthy people who have been now on respirators with COVID, due to COVID. What do you think is going to end up happening with regards to someone who already has all these other ailments and then they're taking this new medication thinking this is going to solve the situation? You don't know how that person's going to react. And that's where really clinical research is really key because you want to test out these things in a confined.
Episode 17, Rebecca Vasquez, Emergency Room Physician Assistant. But another thing that's nuts, Rebecca, that I've been hearing is something called pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome that seems to be affecting, the younger population. And it's apparently it's due to coronavirus. I mean, have you seen any of that? We have 64 cases here in New York. Have you heard about that or anything? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so we have heard of a few different cases in the area, and that was definitely, a big concern in the beginning when they just kept talking about how this virus is only affecting mainly the elderly population, because it just doesn't make any sense. Viruses don't follow any rules. There's no virus in the world that is only going to affect one particular age group or one particular, subset of patients.
Episode 18, Yetza Ramirez, ultrasound technologist. How does it feel when you're with a mother for a first time mother and you see the look on their face when they see that heartbeat? That must be dope.
It is. The only thing is we're not allowed to say anything.
Ew.
Because we're not.
See, I don't have children. I don't know. I've learned so much these last 3 weeks. I'm really proud of all the guests that I've had on the show. I'm such a dumb Neanderthal man. It's good to
No, not at all. Not at all. Every day's a learning experience.
I know. I love
even
it, man. I
me.
love this podcast. I'm becoming smarter by the week. So they're not allowed to see the heartbeat. So explain that process to me. I've never been in that room.
Well, some people, some clinics, we're as techs, we're not allowed to say anything to the patient at all. No matter where we are, we're not allowed to say anything. We're not doctors.
Okay.
We diagnose the patient for the doctor, and the doctor will have his last impression. So God forbid if the patient comes in and there's a fetal demise, we're not allowed to say, hey, by the way, you have a dead baby.
Mm-hmm.
You have a dead baby inside, that will the mother will be so heartbroken, and then we could get also sued for that.
Episode 19, Pranchanta O'Neill, property owner. How does that make you feel? What do you tell your sons about dealing with white people and just dealing with life overall? Because that's a scary statistic, Miss O'Neill.
How I was brought up and how I teach my sons is not very different, but I pray every day that my sons walk out the house. I pray to God and thank God that they walk back in the house. And I know my sons are good boys. I know they have good character, but that does not mean anything to a racist, or that does not mean anything to anybody who wants to gun them down for absolutely no reason except for them being African-American young men.
Episode 20, Ebony Allison, head of content, Blue Magazine. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you want, as a person of the Black community? What is something? Is it reform in the judicial system? What do you think will be the good, the right steps to start taking after, during this process now that we're undergoing?
I think first of all, acknowledging. I think people honestly need to acknowledge the problems or the issues that they have brought on to just the Black community. Is people in higher power need to literally just own up to the fuck up, own up to your racism, own up to your bullshit. That starts there, and then honestly and just genuinely wanting change. But I mean, as far as moving forward from this, it's kind of scary because it's how do we actually move forward? Because either way, we know whoever is elected is a racist. And we know that no matter how much we fight, what we need is not going to be in there. It's not going to be something that they actually are working for. They're not working to better the Black community. So it's just a really scary time. I talk to my friends overseas in Europe, and they always talk about maybe you guys need to leave and move over here, because Black people in Europe or in London or overseas are just not treated at all the same way that we are treated here in America. So it's just a very, like I said, it's just a scary time. And I honestly don't know how we will move forward with a racist president. But as far as change, I think that it's going to have to start with like real unity. Like Black people have to be more united than ever. Like we can't lean on the president. We can't lean on the government. We have to literally lean on each other.
Episode 21. Ivan Banjo Fontanes, activist.
That was kind of the epicenter of the riot. Across the street, and in that mall, there is a AutoZone. And one guy dressed in all black with an umbrella and a full-on like riot gas mask was starting to smash the windows of that particular establishment just across the street. Protesters go to him and try to stop him and drive him away. But once those glasses break, it kind of just people's energy just kind of riles up and that's the first building that gets burned after this guy had smashed the windows. Over the course of the rest of the days, his ex-wife comes forward to say, that's him. I know him because of the way he walks and the mask he's wearing is mine. That's definitely him. And some research turned out to point that he's a St. Paul police officer.
Episode 22. Jamily Whitfield, licensed clinical social worker.
And so this is the image that they've made. When we look at systemic racism, when we look at anti-Blackness, look at the newspaper articles that were coming out back in the days. It was of Black people looking like animals, literally like animals. Every movie that has come out from back in the days, how were they portrayed? Animals, beasts, hurting people, thieves, criminals, etc. And these are white actors, black-facing, painting themselves, running after a woman to rape her, running after this. So this is what they're doing. They're infiltrating in the media, and what we're seeing now. You see, we too woke right now to fall for it because we got these to fall for anything else. But back in the days when they didn't have that, there was no recordings. This is history still continuing. This is the media infiltrating that we're back.
There's still Latinos knowing the facts still do not care at all
because
whatsoever.
You know what? Because we think we're the shit and we're not. And we're not. Because honestly, if it wasn't for the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that then transitioned to the 1965 Immigration Act, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here. And so this is what upsets me in having conversations with, like, I've had to go back and forth with a lot of people, even my own family. I remember half of my family was like going for Trump, and I felt some kind of way. And I was a little smart ass. I was like, let me tell you something. If it wasn't for my father petitioning for all of y'all to come from DR, y'all would still be living in a little hut. So before you out here talk about you want Republican and you want this and you want this without understanding the facts, ustedes habían sido unos campesinos literally wearing rags on the side if my father didn't sacrifice because of the 1965 Immigration Act to have y'all here.
Episode 23. Natalia Hernandez Nunez, singer.
Rihanna.
Ooh, okay, a Rihanna person. I like that. It's so back and forth with these questions. I love it. Now, before we end the podcast, we would like to ask you if you could sing the first verse of Celos for us, a cappella.
Okay. So I'll sing Celos. A little bit of it, and then you guys can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, so the public can hear your lovely voice, because people are listening to me all the way out to Spain, France, like on the Spotify. You never know. We got to hear that voice,
All right, so this is Celos. Like we mentioned earlier, it's the complexities of being side piece and not wanting to be so anymore. It was like this. Al comienzo entendía que solo era cama, no había amor. Recuerdo cuando me decías, hablamos luego que ya llegó. Y nos fuimos desenvolviendo, perdiendo el miedo. No había lugar ni hora para un beso. Corazón, ya no estoy aceptando. Yo soy tu otra mitad, te amo. Son unos celos uno tras de otro, compartir tu cuerpo y también tu boca. Sé que lo acepté por un instante, la verdad es que ya no deseo ser tu amante. Son unos celos uno tras de otro, dividir tu cuerpo y también tu boca. Sé que lo acepté por un instante, la verdad es que ya no deseo ser tu amante. Son unos celos uno tras de otro.
Episode 24, Kareem S. Reeves, Medicare expert. Mr. Kareem Reeves, thank you for joining us today here, my brother. I really appreciate your presence. I have a lot of confusion. I have some old people in my family, older people in my family that want to know about the situation. They're tired of being confused. People are calling them. There's $184 missing from their check. They want to know what that means.
Well, first of all, Andrew, thank you so much for having me on, man. Thank you. I'm really appreciative and grateful to be a part of this platform tonight. If I could add some clarity and help one person, I always say, my job is well done.
First question is who's eligible for Medicare? How does that work? And, why what is part A, B, C, D, E, F, G? No, it's only part A, B, C, D. But, it's confusing,
Yeah. All right. Well, let's break it down. So for Medicare, who's eligible? So anybody who is a citizen who has worked 10 years, 40 quarters, or a legal permanent resident.
Hey, folks, I hope you enjoyed the Thank You Medley. And we will be continuing to bring you more podcasts moving forward. I look forward to a great second half. I really pray that the global pandemic subsides and we all continue to be able to live as normal lives as possible. But I just want y'all to know, keep your heads up. If you want to follow me and what I'm doing on my social media, it's at Angel of Words ENT. You know where to find me on YouTube, and you know that I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Talk to you later.